You might not realize it, but the film industry is a little bit obsessed with body swap movies.
He's Mitch.
I'm Mitch. Somehow we switched bodies. That's
And I'm Dave.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it has been, for a while.
Oh, Tim, it really happened.
Go on back to sleep. It's just a nightmare.
This is a list of every appearance of body swapping in film, according to Wikipedia, and it's not even complete. There are several early adaptations and international remakes unaccounted for, not to mention an abundance of twists and loose takes on the premise that Hollywood in particular has been experimenting with for years. Becoming younger or older,
I'm a cat!
becoming an animal, swapping literal identities like in 1983's Trading Places,
William,
Yes.
this is your home.
swapping literal faces like Cage and Travolta in Face Off,
It's like looking in a mirror, only not.
or Pod People.
Oh, you've got to get out of here, please.
They come from another world, spawned in the light years of space, unleashed to take over the bodies and souls of the people of our planet.
But over the years, what's defined the core catalog of body swap movies, stuff like Freaky Friday and its various remakes, has gone largely unchanged. You've got two characters with opposing outlooks on life, who thanks to an encounter with some magical object, wind up in each other's bodies. That's usually followed by a scene involving a mirror and a lot of screaming, and then a 24-hour morality lesson in either empathy or self-discovery.
Okay, blah, 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 blah. Lack, then selfless love will change you back. Oh, great, so that means we're stuck like this forever.
Now is not a moment for your negativity.
But today, these are tropes. Filmmakers can embrace them or subvert them, but this is the shape of what a body swap movie looks like. So how did we get here?
Are you sure you want to change places?
Yes, I'd like it.
I'd like it. I know I would.
Well, that's good enough for me.
The body swap premise made its Hollywood debut in 1940 with the film Turnabout. It featured a bickering married couple who have their bodies traded by a talking Indian idol. But the concept itself is much older. John Locke was philosophizing various soul swap scenarios as early as 1694, and several more explorations of the premise would manifest in literature in the centuries to follow. A version of one of these stories, of Antisey's Vice Versa, A Lesson to Fathers, was actually put to film in the UK as early as 1916, though that story's first talking picture adaptation would come a little later.
I wish I was a man just like you are just now.
The 1948 film saw the switch between a wealthy stockbroker and his son, and like Turnabout relied on some contrived ancient artifact to make it happen.
What is it?
The Garuda Stone.
But while these two films would lay most of the groundwork for the genre's defining tropes, it would be another 30 years before we would see the concept truly pushed into the mainstream.
Mothers just don't understand what a person goes through. I mean, I'm an individual, right? I can't eat what I want, wear what I want, to keep my hair and my nails the way I want.
The original Freaky Friday movie from 1976 was Disney's first dip into the body swap subgenre, leading a charge of family comedies that, beneath their gimmicky exteriors, sought to tap into that innate human curiosity for the things we don't have, the need to understand quite literally how the other half lives.
I wish I could switch places with her for just one day.
I really think that people are so interested in this story, this body swapping in some ways between family members. The first Freaky Friday between a mother and a daughter, then it went on to do, there was the Father and the Son movie, and then there was the remake as well that was done for cable.
Well, just tell Ellen that to hang in there, and I know what's going on, and I'll get back to her as soon as I can.
I think it spurred all of this interest because there is this kind of primal fascination, that symbiotic relationship between mother and daughter, and wanting to really experience what it would be like to be on the other side of that argument.
Look, turn it on. What do you mean, turn it on? It's a typewriter, not a television set.
An electric typewriter needs electricity. Dummy?
Electric?
Eventually, 2020's Freaky would be the first movie to ceremoniously blend traditional body swap tropes with the horror genre, but a sort of precursor to this fusion could be found as early as 1981.
Get away from her! Come on, move!
The The Australian horror film Alison's Birthday revolves around a young woman baited into a cult that wants to switch her body with that of an old witch. The swap served more as a denouement than the usual inciting incident, but it was nevertheless a step in a new direction.
It's my heart, you see. It means well. But it's always been something of a lemon.
Then in 1984, Hollywood would try out something a little different with the Steve Martin comedy, All of Me.
Written by Phil Robinson.
And directed by Carl Reiner.
When I read the script and started to laugh, I said, oh, wait a minute, what a challenge for an actor to be able to play a part where he's got a woman inside of him.
All of Me is loosely set up like your typical body swap comedy. A woman who thinks she's been dealt a bad hand in life wants a change. That is, until the intended magical transformation goes awry, and she ends up having to share a body with one very unhappy lawyer.
It's not me, it's Edwina Cutwater. Soul's inside me. Oh, that's right, blame it all on me. Well, it is your fault I had this case won. No, I had it won, but it would have been wrong.
What the hell is going on here?
I think that All of Me, because it has the one element of Steve Martin having Lily Tomlin's soul inside him and taking over the right half of his body, you can tell people that, but unless you see how he does it, there's no way to describe it unless I happen to be a pretty good actor, and I could probably get up and impersonate it a little bit, but it won't be enough. You gotta go see it.
Where are we going? Got to find Procalasa. I can't go in there. Skylar will think Excuse me, that's a private conversation, do you mind?
Though perhaps All of Me was a little too subversive.
Let go of my hand, you brute.
Because over the span of a single year, between 1987 and 1988, Hollywood would produce 3 of the most quintessential body swap movies of their kind.
What do you think we should do?
You want my opinion?
Mm-hmm, sure.
I think we should increase his daily dosage of Coumadin to 12 milligrams.
Coumadin? Does this sound right to you guys?
Like Father Like Son, essentially the male counterpart to Freaky Friday. There was another Vice Versa remake, now in color.
Wait!
And then 18 again.
I wish I was 18 again. Going where I've never been. But old folks and old oaks standing tall just pretend. I wish I was 18 again.
None of these movies did much to meaningfully transform the genre, but in bearing with the basics, they would prove key to cementing the age-old body swap conventions as bona fide tropes.
But just one kiss and she lost herself completely.
As a result, the body swap films of the 90s were not exactly revolutionary, but they still broke some new ground. 1992's Prelude to a Kiss leaned away from family comedy into the realm of romance drama, and it swapped both gender and age, a dying man for a young woman. 1995 brought the aforementioned Freaky Friday cable movie that nearly everyone forgot about by 2003.
I'm in my mother's body, so I guess she's her in mine.
And in 1996, Australia made a true-to-form rom-com body swap film with Dating the Enemy.
You want me to be you?
Oh, I wish.
Careful what you wish for. It may come true.
Well, it's quite clear. You're in my body.
I have got a great ass.
And I'm in yours.
It's the ultimate hidden secret. What is life like for the other half?
I don't want to fight you. Too bad, mate.
But if you're like me, it was probably the early 2000s that first introduced you to the body swap film.
Look at me.
I know. We seem to be inside each other.
Old.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper.
Okay, that's enough.
Now, being a remake of an adaptation of a book, the 2003 Freaky Friday movie was hardly a novel property. But what the original did for the popularity of the genre back in 1976, this version would do all over again a quarter-century later. And then there was this. Still, the hot chick did manage to move the genre in one important direction.
Really?
The 2 souls it swaps are complete strangers, unrelated, unmarried, a teenage girl, and a criminal.
Is that all you got? $18?
And in that way, it's actually the most akin to John Locke's original thought experiments, a day in the life of someone you might never otherwise intimately encounter, a new subversion that would prove key in the decade to come.
I'm Dave!
Well, eventually.
Oh my God!
I think the premise is really dead. You know what I mean? The idea of a body switching film, it's like nobody wants to go see that.
That's 2011's The Change Up director David Dopkin.
You had to make sure you did something that looked and felt and was an experience like its own original movie.
I tell you what I want, okay? I want something different. I want your life. You know, I want Sabrina. I want Tatiana and sex with strange new women. You're living the dream. How much fun is it being an actor working 1 week a year?
But failing, frankly, to swap gender, race, or age, the Ryan Reynolds-Jason Bateman body swap effectively changed up very little.
Okay.
But then in 2016, Japanese director Makoto Shinkai would give us this. There is a certain futility in trying to explain away your name, but essentially, two teenagers start waking up sometimes, but not always, in each other's bodies, having never met, and as they navigate each other's worlds, they form a bond that transcends not just their physical space, but time itself. It's a complex tale of love and youth and tragedy and tradition, but its body swap mechanism is not a gimmick. The device serves its story, not the other way around.
What the? Oh, God!
Back in the US, though, the Jumanji remake, and even more so its sequel, The Next Level, would finally bring the body swap premise out of the mid-budget film space.
I mean, what am I supposed to do with this?
You read the map?
I don't want to read the map. I'm supposed to be her. Instead, there's actual hair growing out of my face. Sorry. All bodies are beautiful, even this one.
Albeit still with an emphasis on laughs and morally unambiguous lessons for families, Jumanji's blockbuster action comedy side ultimately opened up new doors and new scenarios.
The opportunity we've got with these movies, unlike any other movie really, is you could bring back this incredible cast, but they could all be playing totally different characters. And so once we started to wrap our heads around that, that was where it snowballed.
You see? You're a thief who's too neurotic to steal anything. Bethany's a horse.
And of course, what would any decade be without another Freaky Friday remake?
Oh no, look at my hair. I have mom hair. I look like a realtor. And I look like a sad, sad little boy.
Oh, and the twist this time? It's a musical.
If you knew what I go through and I could day in my own chains, well then maybe you would see all of the reasons why you can't.
Over the last 80 years, we've seen gender swaps, age swaps, body swapping for comedy, a dip toe into horror, and a myriad of variations between them. But inadvertently or not, it's all converged here. The 2020 body swap slasher flick, Freaky.
It's sort of like, Freaky Friday the 13th.
Directed by this guy, Christopher Landon.
And that was actually our working title for a long time until Disney,
Co-written by Landon and Michael Kennedy, Freaky follows a larger-than-life serial killer played by Vince Vaughn, who unwittingly swaps bodies with a teenage girl.
Okay, so last night, our consciousness or our spirit, whatever you want to call it, okay, it traded places.
She's telling the truth.
So he stabbed me with the dola, which is like this ancient mystical dagger, and now I have like less than 6 hours to swap back or I'm gonna be stuck in this body forever.
There have been so many body swap comedies, but I felt like I'd never seen the horror version of that. And so it felt fresh again.
Guys, he's here somewhere. He's wearing my body and he's wearing my face. He's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. And if we don't capture him first, God knows how many people he's gonna kill.
In effect, Freaky is as much a subversion of the body swap comedy via its slasher influences as it is a subversion of the slasher subgenre via its body swap influences. And that alone makes it a very unique idea. It subverts and reinvigorates two aging genre structures for the price of a single ticket. The body swap film is not dead. Yet, but like with any genre or subgenre this old, keeping it alive takes a tremendous amount of creativity and willingness to experiment. The core idea of the body swap could only be novel one time, but I think the last 10 years have made some strong cases for what can be done to twist it around and keep it interesting. So hey, here's to another 10.
Hey, I'm me again.
Yippee for you.
Man, like, why am I wearing a dress?
Everyone remain calm. Velma, what the heck's going on?